Hi class, I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to talk about outlining, and the reason for that is because for every one of your essays I will require you to turn in an outline. Why? Because that is one of the ways to ensure that you actually engage in some kind of pre-writing activity, and then also because it helps me provide you feedback on your assignments, as well as it prepares you for the research paper, which is more of a formal assignment. And for formal assignments, you typically are required to provide an outline. So let's go ahead and get started. I will post these notes for you on Canvas. That way you can access them on your own whenever you feel like it. They will be, well, by the time you read this, by the time you watch it, you probably will have seen this document and the module. But let's re-emphasize the fact that an outline is a formal pre-writing strategy. And it is, in other words, it's a roadmap to your essay. It tells the reader what the essay is about and the order in which the essay will be written, if you will. The important point to remember is that you do have a choice in regards to the type of outline that you write. There is an outline where you can write it in full sentences. There's one where you can write it in phrases. It doesn't really matter which one you choose as long as you don't mix the types. In other words, if you start writing your outline in full sentences, continue writing in full sentences throughout. Don't go back and forth between full sentences and phrases. That just makes the outline look choppy and not very cohesive. Then you need to make sure that you write the word thesis, literally write the word thesis followed by a colon, and then you state your thesis in one full sentence. In the previous module, we talked about thesis statements and how they should be one sentence. So make sure that in your outline, your thesis is one sentence and it is written clearly at the top of the outline. Your thesis statement, as discussed previously, needs to be supported by 3 major points of support, and those are labeled in Roman numerals, capital Roman numerals. So the first point would be I, the second one would be I, and the third one would be I, etc. So keep that in mind. Also note that the Roman numerals indicate 3 different components in an outline. They indicate, of course, the major point of support, your topic sentences, and of course, the paragraph numbers. So in other words, paragraph number or Roman numeral number 1 equals paragraph number 1 equals topic sentence number 1, and that is the first reason to support your thesis as well, and so on and so forth. Your 3 major points of support, in other words, your Roman numerals, they have to be supported by 3 subpoints. And those subpoints are labeled A, B, and C. And then your subpoints need to be supported with 2 examples or details, and those are labeled in regular numbers, 1 and 2. And make sure that each division is tabbed from the margin. So in other words, your Roman numeral, the thesis statement is aligned at the margin. The Roman numeral is tabbed once. The the subpoints are tabbed twice, and then the details are tabbed 3 times. So the outline is kind of funky looking in the sense that it's not all aligned to the left of the margin. The spacing is kind of, I don't want to say all over the place, but it is different, if you will. Make sure that you do capitalize the first letter of every word in each division. So in other words, when you write your Roman numeral number 1, if your first word is the, you capitalize the T. If it's major, then you capitalize the M. Same thing for your subpoints and your details. The first letter of every word has to be capitalized. It just makes it look neater, and it's just one of those rules that you follow when you write outlines. Make sure that you do follow, of course, since you are following the Modern Language Association format, you follow that as well for outlining. In terms of the spacing, the font, and the margins, you need to have a header, etc. And something for you to note that for outlines, the header is, the page number in the header is different than for your regular essay. For your regular essay, for the header, you would include the page numbers written in standard numbers, whereas in the outline, you include those numbers in lowercase Roman numerals. I will show you how to do that in Word. I don't know how to do that in Google Docs because I am not familiar with Google Docs. So let's go to, you go to Insert, and you go to Header. You pick up the blank header, and make sure you choose your header to go, of course, to the right. And as you can see, it shows right here. This is where it says type here. And that's where I would type my last name. So let's see if it'll let me. There it is. The other thing you'll notice is that the font is the default font, so make sure you change it to Times New Roman. Then we need to format it in terms of the paging. And like I said, for the outline, you need to make sure that you use lowercase Roman numerals. So we go to Format Page Numbers right here, and it's already telling me, it knows that it's an outline. So this is how I choose the page numbers for an outline. And starting at page 1, so we press OK. And once we print our paper, we should be able to see our last name and the page number as well. If you're not sure how to format a header in anything other than than Microsoft Word, I know there are endless YouTube videos that show you how to do that, so don't be afraid to simply Google something, and I'm sure you'll be able to find that out. I'm sure there are other ways of doing the header. I just like to do it the longer way so that people go through the steps as opposed to doing shortcuts commands. Then we go on to point number 9. Make sure that for your outline you do write a creative title, and that is the key word. It has to be creative and original. Don't just simply call it after the assignment. Don't call it, for example, your first assignment is going to be a narrative, so don't call it personal narrative, don't call it midterm, don't call it dumb essay, don't call it essay number 1. I know you're highly creative individuals, therefore you can come up with a creative and really strong title for your essay. The title of the essay should tell the reader what the essay is about, but keep it brief. It's not a full sentence. It's not. It's also not just the question of the prompt. Like, what did I learn by this experience? No. Give it a title, think about it. I usually write my title at the end after I've done writing the essay. That's just because I have an idea of what the essay content is, and I can come up with a better title at the end. But if you can write it at the beginning, by all means, that's fine. So keep your titles brief, 7 words max. And then the last point in regards to outlining is just know that if you use Microsoft Word, it's not, when you write an outline, it's not the same format as the MLA format. So here's an example of an outline that I have in Microsoft Word. The computer knows that we're already doing an outline. So if you notice, we have here our thesis, which is the first thing that you should write. Then we label our introduction. Typically, you don't outline introductory paragraphs, but for this assignment, I do want you to include them just because the essay is a little bit different, and you'll see that in the next video that I have. But anyway, back to this. If you notice the letters here, these are the subpoints, and those are written in lowercase letters. Once I started typing, the computer automatically started, you see that what it did, it automatically selected lowercase letters. But in MLA format, they need to be lowercase letters. So we can certainly continue typing our outline in Microsoft Word. As long as once we're done, we highlight our letters. And then we capitalize. We just need to capitalize the first one. Hit space, and you notice that it's capitalized the rest. Same thing with our details. These are written in lowercase Roman numerals. They need to be written in MLA format, which are standard numbers, just like we talked about here in number 5. So those, likewise, we just highlight and change them to 1 and 2. So now it is in MLA format. So this is the sample outline. Again, this is in this week's module, so you can see what it looks like. And specifically for this assignment, this is a template that I want you to follow for your first assignment. If you can provide all of this content in your essay, in other words, as you write your essay, you should be able to get an A. And something for you to note, don't just simply write what it says here, a hook explanation, because if I see that, that doesn't tell me what the explanation is. I just want you to write a brief explanation of it. For example, life-changing. What does the hook mean? Don't just write the question. Keep in mind that when, in this case, this template provides you the instructions of what to write in each one of these points. Sometimes students just leave the content there and it doesn't really tell me anything, because if I see setting, where, when, and who, I have no idea who, when, and where. I actually want you to write, where did this happen, when, and who was involved, other than just reading the words. So just keep that in mind as you start drafting your first outline. So that is all I have for you for now. I have another video to share with you regarding how to write the narrative. That is it. I hope you have a good week. Bye.